Hello my beautiful YouTube people. It's so nice to be back talking to the camera. So if you saw my last video, we went to Wales and it was so nice just to have a break and get away. A few things have happened over the past few months which have not been very nice. Our little dog Stanley died suddenly, which was not nice at all. And then our car went for its MOT and the garage said it had to be scrapped because all the underneath was too rusty and structurally it wasn't very good, which was another pain and in the bum. Anyway, so yeah, I had quite a awful period of feeling I didn't know what was going on. And I think the thing is, a lot of us at the minute are feeling this. We're in this weird period of change. So we've been through summer and we're in autumn now, and there's this in the northern hemisphere, that is, and there's this funny feeling of change in the air. And obviously I'm not going to go into politics or anything like that, because I don't want to talk about that on this channel, but the things that are happening around the world obviously impact the energy of everybody. And then as somebody that feels that or is in tune with all that, it can feel quite heavy and it can land quite heavy. So then on top of that, when things actually happen in your own life as well, like the death of somebody or the death of a pet, it can land really heavily, and it did. And you know, I'm still not over it. Do you ever get over it? I don't think you ever do. I think you just learn to live with it in some ways. But it did feel really hard. I questioned so many things, but what is brilliant is it's made me realise actually how important the important things are. So we don't know how long we've got on this planet for this time round. We don't know how long we've got with people that we love or animals that we love. And a lot of the time we place massive importance on things that are not that important really in the grand scheme of things. We are this tiny little speck in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, it's made me realise quite a lot. And I'm never glad to have a horrible experience, but I am glad of the learning from the experience. And journaling definitely helped to try and get it out. And I never knew that you could cry that much and keep crying and crying and crying. Tom, that's my partner, and we cried for days. I mean, luckily he was off work for a week anyway. He'd already booked it so we could go away. Unfortunately that didn't happen, and instead we dealt with Stanley being poorly, and then just for one day he was poorly for one day, and then yeah, he had to be put down, which was just awful. So big breaths so I don't start crying again. But things are feeling a lot more settled now, and the navigation of only having one dog instead of two has kind of settled in, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we've got a new car coming. We're just waiting for the AA man to they do that, like this check, because it's 40 miles from where we are. We've got an AA, and we don't know about cars, we've got an AA man to go, and they do this full check to make sure it's all alright. So that's happening tomorrow, so fingers crossed it will come back and it's all good, and then we'll get a new car. And it's the first new car we've ever had in our whole lives. It's not new, it's second hand, but I mean, we've picked it. So the car we had before, lovely Aurora, she was gifted to us by a beautiful couple, which we were so appreciative of. And yeah, so we've never actually gone and picked a car. And I tell you what, picking a car, what a minefield. I just love vintage cars. So I was finding all the old ones, and Tom was like, no, because it takes so much money to fix, and with old ones, you know, there's going to be problems and stuff. And I was like, oh, because all the modern ones, to me, they all look the same. They're just like all the same. And then the ones that I really liked were like, I must have expensive taste, because the ones I really liked were ridiculous amounts of money. And yeah, so we've finally gone for a Honda Civic, I think it is, and there's one that's really fancy that, I mean, it makes me smile because you know how I am, and I'm all into nature and the earth and the planet and everything, and I'm all in touch with everything. And then when I was looking, I saw this really fancy boy racer car and it was all sleek and stuff, and I was like, oh, I like that. And I was like, who is this person? Why do I like a boy racer car? What is going on? It was very bizarre. But yeah, that was ridiculous amounts of money as well. So we've picked one that's got a really big boot, and what I really liked about it is the seats fold flat, so you could potentially camp out in it if you wanted to. Like, they fold completely flat. You know, like some car seats fold down but they stick up a bit. This doesn't. It folds like uber flat. And the thing that swung it for me was the back seats. One of the back seats folds up into the roof, and the guy on the video said, so you could fit a really big plant in here. And I was like, sold. So I thought, yes, if we go plant shopping, I can stand big plants up in that bit. So we'll see what happens when the AA man checks it out, and yeah, it'll be so interesting. You know, Tom only passed his driving test a year ago in September actually, and we've never had a car before that or anything. You know, I don't drive, so it was totally new to us, being able to get in a car and go somewhere where the bus didn't go and experience that freedom. Yeah, that's what it is. It's just freedom. Going to the beach or, you know, wherever, into the forest and stuff. It's so lovely. And now Badger's on his own, so Badger's our other dog. Now he's on his own. He's such a good boy in the car. He just gets in and he just lies down and just sleeps. Whereas before, when we had the two of them, oh, it was a nightmare. I'd have to sit in between the both of them and they'd be whinging and moaning and messing, you know. So it's so good now because he just gets in. He loves it. He loves going in the car. So yeah, so that's where we're at the minute. So I wanted to show you what I've been making, because I've been making some lovely things. So we've got the autumn zine, which arrived fresh from the printers yesterday. And because autumn is my favourite season, I think I love this the most because of the colours and stuff. But it's 32 pages and it's full of all sorts of stuff. Nature, folklore, education stuff, little thoughts, all sorts of stuff. So we've got that one, and also the Circle of Witches autumn one, which also arrived from the printers yesterday. And a big shout out to the printers actually. So I use a company called Inky Little Fingers that are in England, and they're brilliant. They're absolutely wonderful. I can't recommend them highly enough. And no, this is not a sponsored post or anything like that. I just really love them. They're really good company. And it's all vegetable inks as well, and printed on sustainable paper, so I love it. So again, this is another 32 pages of all sorts of stuff about witches and spells and magic and self-care and gnomes and all sorts of things. And I also made this really beautiful little piece of writing. I'll show it you. And so this is my artwork in the background, and then and that's a stamper, that, you know, an ink stamper. And then I've written this. So should I read it? Yeah, I'll read it to you. Magical moon, I see you shine your wisdom on me against the night sky. Stars twinkling around your luminous light, healing the parts of me that need letting go, giving me the strength to carry on. Your light making my face glow as I hold my head towards you, trying to take in every indentation before a cloud blocks you from view. Breathing deeply, there is only you and me in this moment. What do I need to know? Your knowledge lands in my mind with words I need to hear. They soothe my soul and I go forward in a new cycle. thank you, Grandmother Moon, for your illumination in all things. And I wrote that with the last full moon because where we live in our house, Tom's office has got a, is it called a Velux window? It's like in the roof, it opens out. It's not a skylight, it's a weird window. Anyway, when you're up there and it's the full moon, at a certain part of the night, you can see the moon. It like rises above the houses, and it wasn't long after Stanley had passed. And I went and stood and had opened the window, and I just stood and looked at the moon, and it was so almost as though there was nothing else. It was just me and the moon in that moment. And yeah, it was really emotional. I'm getting a little bit emotional now thinking of it, but it was really emotional. And I said to the moon, what do I need to know? And the moon spoke to me and said that I need to let him go. And it was a real moment. Whew. I didn't expect this. So that's when I wrote the part about the moon. Moving swiftly on. I've also been making these. Oops. Just try and get it without, I don't want to bend it. There we go. So these are watercolour, and then I ink stamp and draw on top of them. So I've been making these. This was a commission for a lady on Instagram, and I've made a couple more of these, and that's on watercolour paper. And then last night I started printing mushroom cards. So these are, there's two different designs. I did these lino cuts yesterday, and these were my practice ones to see what they'd come out like, and I really like them. And I've been writing them today to my Patreon people. Big shout out to my Patreons, whoop whoop, or patrons. So they're gonna go in the packages with the zines. What else have I been doing? I think that's about it. I've just been doing lots of work online, so getting things ready for the amazing Wild Creative Woman. That was a bit like Pigs in Space, wasn't it? Did you ever watch the Muppets as a kid? I loved the Muppets. So yes, Wild Creative Woman, which will be launching in January, and I'm so excited to tell you more about that. But I'm doing a lot of work behind the scenes on that. It is going to be a monthly membership, but it's going to be paid for the whole year. So it's like a year container, as you will. It's not like you come in one month, go out and come back in a different month. It's a full year container. Container's a weird word. We're not going to be sat in a container. Let's think of a better word. A cocoon. I like that. It's a year cocoon into creativity, connection with nature, the seasons, everything. I'm so excited and just, yeah, really excited and happy to be creating something so magical for so many of you. So yes, I will talk about that in another video and explain lots more about it. But yeah, that's what I've been working on behind the scenes. And I've also been cooking lots of lovely food, bulk cooking on a Sunday, because it saves so much time, like loads of time. And also it makes me eat healthier in the week as well when I'm working, because I find that I just grab a piece of toast or a packet of crisps or something if I didn't have the food there ready. So that's been nice. And it's that time of year where, you know, you're feeling like, oh, I want more soups and stews and chilies and stuff like that. So it's really good. So I just thought I'd come on and catch you up with everything that's been going on, and I really appreciate every one of your comments. I love them, and I really appreciate all of you that watch my videos, because I know sometimes they're a bit wonky and my filming isn't great and my editing is not great, but that's just life, isn't it? That is just life, what it's like. So yes, thank you for being here. I do appreciate every single one of you, and I really am grateful that I get to do things like making my zines and stuff like that too. Oh, if you want a copy of a zine, they're available on my website, which is www.dottydelightful.com, or over on Etsy, which is also called Dotty Delightful. So if in doubt, just Google Dotty Delightful and I should appear. So yeah, they'll be on there. And then once I've sent out all my patrons the mushroom cards, I'm going to make some available on my Etsy and website as well, because I think they're quite cute, really. That's a really strong print of one. Yeah, so, and I love lino cut in the way that they all come out a little bit different. So that is that. Have a wonderful week ahead. I hope you get to crunch some leaves and have some hot chocolate, and it's scarf weather now, which is brilliant. So yeah, I hope you have a lovely week ahead. Hi, so I'm cooking in the kitchen at the moment. I am making a vegetable and lentil lasagna, and while I stand here chopping vegetables, my brain goes like a million miles an hour thinking of all sorts of stuff. So I thought instead of it doing that, I would just talk to you like you're my pal in the kitchen. At the same time, so far I have put in an aubergine all chopped and into little squares, and 3 cloves of garlic. I would have put in more, but I've run out. Just doing the courgettes. I'm just going to wash the courgettes I always wash the courgettes because sometimes they can have a little bit of soil on them. If you can see all these plastic boxes behind me, that's because we do bulk cooking. So a few years ago I got loads of tubs. I could only get one glass one, which was really annoying. They're a lot more popular now and a lot more easy to get, but at the time I could only get the plastic ones, and of course I don't agree with using plastic, and if I could, everything would be glass, like all my jars to store food in are glass. You know, and when I'm making cordial or winter tonic, which has not even got to winter, everything's glass, but you just do what you can, don't you? That's the thing, you just do what you can. And also bearing in mind that it's all well and good, you know, saying, and I've done it in the past, said to people, oh, you should do this and you need to do that, but a lot of the time budget comes into it as well. You know, we have to consider these things, that things like glass containers are a lot more expensive outlay to buy than plastic ones in the beginning. I do hope you can hear me over the sizzling of the pan. Otherwise I'd just be talking for ages for nothing. So yeah, budget comes into it. You know, years ago our family was on benefits, which is welfare if you're in America, and I wouldn't have been able to buy things like glass jars and stuff like that back then because it just wasn't in our budget. I mean, at the time, we're talking about, I can't really remember how long, maybe about 8 years ago. There was 5 of us at home, so there was me and Tom, my partner, and 3 sons. They were all at home, and so there was 5 of us, and we had £12 a week for food shopping. And now think of that now, I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Of course, back then, this courgette looks like it's got a bite mark out of it. That is the weirdest thing ever. Can you see that? This is new from the supermarket. It looks like somebody's like bitten down on it. What the heck? I think somebody's bitten my courgette. And it won't be somebody in this house because nobody really likes them like just like that. I'm going to chop that off. That is weird. Really weird. What the heck? That's, I'm going to save that and show it to Tom when he gets home. What was I saying? £12. Oh yeah, so I mean back then we had, this was before we went vegan, before we knew stuff, you know. So we had chickens then, we had our beautiful girls, so we had their eggs, and we also, even though we lived in a little rented house with a not very big garden, the landlord was amazing, and we put all raised beds in, so we grew a lot of veg as well and herbs, so we did grow things. And also at that time so there's a company called Suma. Suma is an organic wholesaler, and if you've got a business you can have a business account with them. So at the time, once probably every like 3 months or so, our family and quite a few other families, pardon me, would all get together and put in a Suma order, because there was like a minimum to put in, and we'd get bulk packs and then we'd divide it up between the community, which was really handy, super handy. So in there now I've just put 3 courgettes and I've burnt my fingers on the pan, and now I'm going to put some green lentils in. Yeah, so it was super handy. And also at that time, back then, £12 could actually get you quite a bit I mean, we like, you know, we have to scrimp and save and stuff and plan out everything, but it could get you a lot more than it does now, you know. And we used to visit the budget supermarkets, so like Lidl and was Aldi there then? No, I don't think we had an Aldi. It was just Lidl, and there was a Farm Foods, which was like a freezer, a discount freezer shop. But then you see, when we realised the stuff that was in food, all the chemicals and additives and preservatives and everything, and we did lots of research on that, there was nothing in Farm Foods for us to eat or buy, because we wasn't vegan then, we were dairy free. Just going to fill up my water filter. Yeah, we were dairy free. We didn't have any cow products, or, you know, like we didn't have milk, cow milk or butter or anything like that. And we ate organic meat after that. We stopped having regular meat and we ate organic for a while. And then we watched a documentary called Vegucated, and there was a part in the documentary where it showed a pig, and the pig was going to be killed basically, and it zoomed in, the documentary makers zoomed right in on the little pig's face. And after watching that, Tom and I said, that's that, we're never eating meat again. That's as quick as it happened, you know. Obviously we'd done research before that into things, which is why we didn't eat dairy, and which is why I didn't buy eggs from the supermarket. You know, I had eggs from our own chickens because we knew what they were being fed and how they were looked after, and stuff like that. And there's this myth that, which we didn't know at the time until we learnt. So hens are the girl ones, obviously. Well, not obviously. Maybe it's not obvious. It's only obvious now because I know. And the boy ones are roosters or cockerels. And so a chicken, a hen, lays an egg all the time, apart from in winter. Like when it goes dark, they stop laying. And so naturally they have this rest downtime in winter time. And in commercial places, not all, but in quite a few commercial places, they have false lights, so the chickens keep on laying. And that's really bad because it depletes the hens of all the nutrients and everything. It doesn't give the body rest time, which is awful. But a hen lays this chicken egg, so that chicken egg is not going to be turned into a chick unless you've got a cockerel rooster. Because it needs to fertilise the egg. So if you just have a chicken on its own, a hen, a girl one, and she's laying eggs, they're never going to make it, they're never going to be babies unless you have a rooster as well. We didn't have a rooster because of the noise and the neighbours and everything. So I'm trying to talk to you and look in the spice cabinet at the same time for stuff to put in my pan. So I've just put some thyme in there now, and I'm going to put a little bit of cayenne in. I'm a bit mad for cayenne pepper, and I tend to put too much in and then it's really spicy. So probably half a teaspoon is gone in there. Yeah, half a teaspoon I reckon's in there. What else am I going to pop in there? Let's have a look. What is that? Oh, we don't want Chinese 5 spice in it, do we? That'd be weird. Yes, so what was I saying? Chickens. So they don't make babies unless there's a rooster or a cockerel to impregnate them. Impregnate them? They don't impregnate them. Fertilise them. To fertilise them. Yes, so we didn't buy commercial eggs because of what a lot of places do. And we'd seen a lot of things about the dairy industry and how they're terrible to the cows. And yeah, I won't even go into that because my channel is not about that anymore. Well, my channel's never been about that, this channel. We did have a website called Naked, Wild and Free. I'm just going to tell you about this. So these plastic nets that veg come in, I hate them. I hate them so much. They're so dangerous to wildlife. They can get stuck in there and everything. So if you throw that in the bin as it is, look at it. If you put that in the bin as it is, and then that goes to landfill, animals are going to get stuck in it. So what I always do is I always chop them in tiny little bits all the way down, and then that way as well. So one way and the other way. So they're only in tiny little bits. Now my friend said that she puts these in plastic bottles. She cuts the label off and puts this bit into a plastic bottle and puts it in the recycling, because then it goes to be recycled with the other plastic. She stuffs loads into one. She doesn't just put one in. So that's another alternative that you can do. But they're just horrible. So there's loads of things that you do now, that I do now, without even thinking about it. Like, it's just natural to me now and just normal to me now. But I was chatting to Tom last night and I said, I wonder if these things that I just do like naturally now, I wonder if they would actually be interesting to other people that are just beginning on this journey, or I don't know. Anyway, so I thought I'd do a chat with you while I'm cooking. Naked, Wild and Free. My head is like, this is what it does, you see. It's all over the place, thinking about loads of different things. But I do get back to the point eventually. So we had this website called Naked, Wild and Free when we first found out about the atrocities that was going on in the world with animals, and to plants and to trees and all the stuff. And I was really angry, so angry at the stuff that I was finding out, because you don't get taught this stuff. And so I was like, we need this website, we need to do these videos and everything. But the trouble is, there was so much resistance from it, because I was coming from it from a place of anger. So people was receiving it in anger, and it was horrible. We used to get some awful comments and stuff. But then over the years, what I've realised is to lead by example. So instead of giving it all of this and being like an activist in the way where you're angry about stuff, I don't think that makes much of a change. It just really annoys people. So instead, doing things and showing people things in a way where they ask you questions, or they see what you do and think, oh, I'll follow that recipe, or so I'm all about that now, which is a lot better, because it's a better energy, and you go and learn, don't you? The stuff that I knew and thought about and would say 10 years ago, I have now grown and developed and changed my opinion on some things. Some things have stayed the same. And I know that everybody's just doing the best they can with the knowledge they've got at that one particular time. So I am going to turn off for a minute, but you won't know, because the magic of editing, it'll be like 1 second. I'm going to turn off because I need to go to the garden to go and pick some rosemary to go in the pan. So I've got 2 lots of rosemary. I've got this one, which is quite new, and then I've got this one, which is more established, but parts of that are drying out a little bit now. So I think we will take a sprig of this one. That's plenty, and it's really lovely. So, and you know what's weird? I just want to show you this while we're out here. The flowers have come back out. So they all died off. Look at all these. They all died off and they've come back out. And look at this gladiola. So I've added the rosemary now into the pan and it smells absolutely lovely. This is a really old pressure cooker that did it belong to my mum? I can't remember if it was this one or one that I got. So the other day I made some tomato, carrot and lentil soup, and I'm going to put this in the pan with the rest of the stuff. So I'm currently making a roux for the lasagna. I've put all the stuff in the plastic, and I'm making a roux, so that is like the sauce that goes on the top. And what I've done is I've put in some plant-based butter and then added some flour and then whisked it together to make like a crumbly type thing, and then I'm using oat milk, and I've added that, and then you've got to just keep stirring it. I'm stirring it and stirring it because it goes quite lumpy if you don't, and I'm using a whisk to stir it with. I find it's much easier than a spoon. And yes, I have got my nightie on and my pinafore over the top. That's how I roll on these cold autumn days. So I'm just going to mix this up now and then pour it into the dish. So the other thing that I added was some nutritional yeast. Can you see that? Which is got B12 in it, which is really important if you're vegan because you need that. So I realised that it was all blurry. All that bit before was blurry, and it's because when I put the flour into the pan it went all over my phone and I didn't know. So excuse the quality. It is night time, as you can see outside, and we've just got like that light and then the light above the cooker and then like spotlight things, so it is a bit rubbish. And also it'd have been even more rubbish because the flour all over the camera. Anyway, what I wanted to do was show up. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to talk to you and show up. And yes, I'm in my nightie, and yes, my hair's scratty, and yes, all the things. Do you know what I mean? But I think that there's loads of beautiful YouTube channels and I love watching them. I just adore watching them. But I've always thought, like, sometimes it gives you a false sense of real life. Well, this is real life, you know. I do want to, and I've said this loads of times in other videos, make really beautiful videos, but also I want to be completely real. And it is real life too. Cooking your nightie if you're not going out the house, and you know, and it is real to get flour all over your camera and stuff like that. So yeah, just wanted to show up and talk to you, and I hope really it inspires you. Like, if you are worried about showing up as you, as your full authentic self, don't be, because it's beautiful and that's what the world needs right now. Hello. So it is night time, and it's my camera's a little bit fuzzy because it is night time, but it's very cosy. So I'm sat in the front room and got all the little lamps on, and I've got a lady on YouTube who does mantra singing with singing bowls, which is really lovely. And there's a gap in the video now because I came on my moon time, so I had a few days of resting, which was really beautiful. I laid on the day bed and I watched movies. I watched an amazing movie called Where the Crawdads Sing. If you've not seen it, oh my god, it's beautiful, it's sad, it's emotional, it's gorgeous. It's just like a fantastic story, and the where she lives and stuff, oh my gosh, it's fantastic. But it does have domestic violence in it, so just to be aware if you're sensitive to that kind of thing. But it was beautiful. So I spent a few days on the day bed. I read the rest of my book, which means now I can take it back to the library, and really rested. And then today we went to the beach, which I will show you in a minute. It was lovely, found some treasure, and it's a perfect way to end the week. So right at the beginning of this video, I recorded it before we got the car. Well, to let you know, we did get the car. The car's all right, it's good, we've got it now, and it's really nice. It feels very weird, it's a bit posh, and we feel a bit odd being in it, to be honest. I'm not settled into it yet, but it was great because it meant that we could go to the beach today, which I've really missed. So we did get the car, and all my Patreon things got sent out, which was right at the beginning of the video as well. And yeah, I've listed the mushroom cars up on Etsy today, and I'll be listing them on my website tomorrow, which is Monday. So we're going in, so it's Sunday night tonight, going into a new week, and it's a full moon in Aries tonight. So after I've recorded this bit and popped it into my movie player to edit it, I will be doing a full moon ceremony up in my bedroom to let go of what I no longer need, to welcome in a new beginning, a new cycle. And it's fallen really well actually, because I'm on day 3. 1, 2, 3, day 3 of my moon time, and it's a full moon as well, so it's really beautiful. And I'm going to go and stand up in Tom's office and look out the window skylight thing and look at the moon and just take all that light in. So the next bit of the video is us at the beach today. It's only short, and then I will catch you next time. And I'm going to learn how to make the words on the screen coincide with actually what I'm saying. I've not learned to do that yet. So have a beautiful week, and I will see you soon. And if there's anything you want me to share or video, pop it in the comments, because I love reading your comments, and then I will try my best to share it and video it and talk about it. So yeah, let me know what you would like me to do.